Give to whoever shall ask. You know, this is something also in Buddhism that we share is to give to people who ask for help. Now, you can also have a boundary, set a boundary rather than just giving and having people take advantage of you and confusing or taking kindness as weakness, because kindness is not weakness. If somebody has asked and then they ask again, or they ask for something else, and it seems like they're just asking for the sake of asking and for the sake of people just giving to them, then you can stop and say, well, I'm not going to give anymore. But if someone says they need help, the idea is that you give without expecting anything back. That's what we should be doing. We should be we should be giving without expecting back. Not even a thank you. Many people don't live this way, right? Many people expect something. They expect maybe affection in their relationship. They expect something like a thank you from somebody. You have to um, politely remind somebody sometimes, and then they, like if someone's giving you a coffee, I've seen that a few times to people. A few minutes go by and then they say, did you get your coffee? Of course I got my coffee. But, you know, you're expecting a thank you. Are you expecting me to get on my knees and kiss your feet too? That's not giving, right? That isn't that isn't truly giving if you're expecting something in return. That's why I'm kind of surprised that, according to the research I've done in studying Buddhism, is that they they tend to think of things like Christmas um, and birthdays as giving, or Easter is giving, but I just don't really see it that way, and I think they should actually be against these commercialized um, holidays, because in those holidays there's an exchange, so that kind of goes against giving without expecting anything, because you're they're expecting something back. That's the tradition, right? Which really shouldn't be. Um, but anyways, that's the truth of giving. So if somebody asks, and you can also say, well, after you've given enough, you can say that I can't afford anymore. There's nothing wrong with that. However, you just need to, even if you find out that you got ripped off later, like if somebody asked for help and then you found out they didn't really need that help, and but that's okay. You just need to think of it as I did something good, I'll have good karma in the future, and I that's okay. I expect nothing back. And you did something out of kindness, which is a good thing that you did. Now that also brings me to something else as far as relationships go. Many relationships, there's always a giver and then there's always a taker, unfortunately. Usually. Usually there's givers and there's takers in a relationship. But what there should be is both giving and both taking. But there should be mostly, I think, on both sides, there should be, in two people in a relationship, I think they should be both giving. I don't think there should be a main person that gives and the main person that always receives. I think both should equally give to each other. I think that is a much better policy for any relationship. also reminds me of a story that happened with Jesus. A rich man, um, said to Jesus, "How do I get to paradise?" And he said, "Give away all your possessions to the poor." And then the man said, "All my possessions? Everything my father had worked for?" And Jesus just nodded his head. So you don't have to go that drastic, of course, but it was to teach something. Just to teach that if you truly want to be humble, you must put yourself in the other person's shoes. So Jesus was telling him to put yourself in their shoes, become poor, become with no possessions like the poor, and give to them, and spread the wealth, and then you'll recognize how they feel. Because see, most people that have money, right, are not like that. Usually, like um, Elon Musk, Trump, all those types, CEOs, right? They all just care about getting more, lining their pockets with more money, more things, right? Even rock stars are like that too, right? Look at their homes, right? And actors, usually they don't, they just care about themselves, right? I mean, they give a little bit here and there, but it's usually a drop in the bucket. It's usually not even 10% of what they own. So then that reminds me of a question. I'm going to leave you with one question. Because most people have a full closet of clothes that they aren't even using. And so, and that's a good example because usually people have a lot of clothes. But here's my question. Could you actually sacrifice half of your clothes and give them to needy people?